Welcome back from an ad break. We will continue with our grade 12 lesson under the topic, the impact of recent legislation on businesses, and our main focus is the BBBEE, which is the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Act. So as mentioned with our concept map, we're going to start with the purpose, then we move on to the impact, then we do the actions that are regarded as discriminatory, and then we look at the penalties for non-compliance. Thereafter, we move on to the ways to comply. This is going to be our main focus for this segment. All right, we're starting off with the purpose. Purpose basically meaning why the BBBEE. What is the whole purpose of the broad-based Black economic empowerment? Right. The first purpose of this BBBEE, amongst many other purposes, we're looking at this one. It says to enable wealth to be spread more broadly across all population groups. Now, if you remember, in the olden days, you would find the minority group earning the majority of the country's wealth, whereas the majority of the population would earn the minority of the country's wealth. So now this legislation was basically introduced to redress the imbalances of the past by doing what? By enabling wealth to be spread more across, broadly across all the population groups, to say, let us now also look at the other population groups and not only focus on the one population group. Right. Secondly, the purpose of this act is to outline the areas that would give the government a platform for bringing about an equitable spread of wealth. So meaning now we're saying we've got a pie chart here. So this pie chart, it must be spread across, or equally everybody must get a slice or a slide in this pie chart of what? Of wealth. Basically, I know my drawing is very bad, but I hope you understand, to say everything needs to be spread equally. So we're looking basically at the wealth of the countries, the wealth basically to be spread across equally. It allows for the development of the codes of good practice. So these are the purposes. Mainly, don't forget to enable wealth to be spread more broadly across the population groups. That's very important. That's very important to say we're no longer focusing on one population, but we're focusing on all. Remember, now we're talking about Black. When we're speaking of Black, don't forget we're talking in this context, we're not referring to a black-skinned only, but we're referring to the non-whites. We're referring to colors. We're referring to Indians. We're referring to Chinese, for that matter, in this particular context. Right, so what are the impacts of the BBBEE Act? Remember, impact, it refers to the advantages and the disadvantages, or positives and negatives. So what are the impact of that, since now wealth is going to be spread amongst, or spread equally amongst all the population groups? It provides human resource development through training and development. Remember, when we're spreading that, we are saying even people should be given an opportunity to go for training. So it provides the human resource development through training and development. A good BEE rating improves the image of the business. We spoke about the BBBEE scorecard, to say now a business will be measured on its compliance with regards to the BBBEE. So the minute as a business we are being measured, and we find that we've got a high or a good BEE rating, it improves the image of the business. How does it improve the image of the business? We're going to speak more about it in detail, but just to be brief, here it says now, the minute we have a good BEE rating as a business, should it happen that we want to apply for government tenders, and then we stand greater chances of getting those tenders. Why? Because we've got a good BEE rating. So it improves the image of the business, and then we find that we've got investors that want to come and invest in our business. Why? Because of a good BEE rating. Very, very important. Right, so another impact of the BBBEE Act is that businesses that comply with the BBBEE pillars will be rated high on the BEE scorecard and may get government tenders. That's basically what I just mentioned here. Don't forget, with the pillars, we've got 5 pillars, but we'll speak more on that. Right, what are the negatives of this legislation? Businesses could experience large financial penalties if they do not comply with BBBEE. Remember, failure to comply, definitely it leads to what? To these negative implications. So sometimes we could be fined a certain percentage of our turnover, but we're going to speak about the non-compliances. Processes may lead to corruption if not properly monitored. If nobody monitors this, and then it can lead to corruption, like employing people that are not suitable or not qualified for the position, like making use of maybe nepotism, but we're going to speak about it. Then we've got discriminatory actions. So what does that mean? To say, as a business, we are not compliant, and then we're being discriminatory. So failing to put affirmative action into practice, failing to implement affirmative action to meet BBBEE responsibilities. Secondly, promoting unsuitable people into management positions at the expense of the qualified PDPs. What are PDP? Do not forget, we are looking at what? Previously disadvantaged people. So who are these previously disadvantaged people? We're looking at black people, we're looking at women, and we're also looking at people with disability, people with disability. So these are our previously disadvantaged people. So if you're promoting people that are unsuitable into management position at the expense of these people, then it means you're being discriminatory. Then let us look at the penalties for non-compliance. If it happens that you find yourself as a suspect of what? Of promoting such people or failing to implement or put the policy into action, then there are penalties for that. So you're going to be punished for doing that as a business. So business may face imprisonment for non-compliance and fronting practices. Now you ask yourself, what is fronting? Some of the businesses, they like to falsify the information. You are lying. On paper, you are saying you've got maybe a previously disadvantaged individual as in management, whereas in practice or in reality, it's not true. So that is just fronting practice. So you can face imprisonment as a business for doing that. The penalty could be a fine of up to 10% of the company's annual turnover. What do we mean by turnover? It's basically the same. It's how much we're making, the profit, how much we're making. So now a penalty could be a fine of up to 10% of the company's annual turnover over and above facing imprisonment. So that could happen. Then government can also cancel any contract that is awarded that was based on the false information regarding the BBBEE status. So if maybe there was a case of fronting that happened, so the government will do what? They're going to withdraw basically, or they cancel their contract that was awarded to us because that was due to false information. So in order for us as a business to avoid all of that, what must happen or what needs to happen? We need to comply. We need to follow the legislation, what is required of us. So what is it that the business must do to basically avoid all of that drama? I call it drama, like facing imprisonment, government withdrawing from us, and also all of those things that the penalties. What must happen? So businesses must appoint black people in managerial positions. Now, don't forget what the term black means in this particular context. We are not talking black-skinned only, but we're referring to a wider or a broader view of black people. We're talking your colors, we're talking your Indians. Don't forget that. All right, so appoint those people in managerial positions so that they can be able to make decisions in the company. Businesses must sell shares to black employees. When you're selling shares, you're making what? Black people to be what? To be owners. To be owners. Don't forget that, because as a shareholder, it means I've got a say in a business. Right, lastly, another way to comply with the BBBEE As a business, we can send Black people for skills development training. What does that mean? We can send them to go and develop their skills or get training. And we understand that with training, it means better chances of being employed or better chances of getting maybe managerial positions, or it also improves productivity. So that these are the ways in which business can comply with the BBBEE Act in order for us to avoid those penalties, or in order for us not to be found being discriminatory. So now we're going to go on to a quick ad break. When we come back, we do the last part of the impact of recent legislation on businesses. I'll see you just now.